Welcome back to a new episode of the Glow Beyond podcast. I'm your host, Roy Wong. So today we have a very special guest, and I've known Iris for a while now, and it's so funny because I realized that I've always had friends on my podcast. I realized ever since I started advocating for, my journey on social media, I've met so many other people with skin condition also. So I'm very, very grateful. So Iris is an eczema warrior and she's also a lawyer, and she also advocates for eczema on Instagram with the handle of eczema advocate. She's also very, very incredibly passionate about women empowerment. Hi, Iris.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you feeling today?
Mm, I'm feeling a little bit nervous.
Nervous? It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Just be casual and
Okay.
just me and you chatting, right?
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, we do this all the time actually.
Yes, we do this all the time, but not here, but in Mama lah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up.
Mm, Growing up, it was tough. It was tough. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I think I grew up believing that I should not take up space and that I should minimize myself, and that I was being told that as a girl, I didn't need to have much ambition, and that my life purpose is just to get married to someone rich and good, whatever that means. Yeah. So I was being labeled as too opinionated, too talkative, and that I am too noisy. I'm basically, in short, I'm too much by my family member who told me that as a girl, you should be quiet most of the time. You shouldn't talk while the adults are talking, and that you don't need to study so hard. Yeah, because they think that the life purpose of a girl is to get married, a very traditional old school Chinese family setting.
So that was what was put onto you, the
Yeah.
mindset and the perspective.
Yes.
What about yourself? Is there something inside you that thought differently about how life should be?
Yeah. In fact, I don't understand why they are saying that to me and why they think that way. And I remember I used to be a rebel, and then I I basically just do the opposite of what they say, like don't be too opinionated. I have so much opinions, and it's not good to be outgoing. Just don't go out so much. Just stay at home and just be a good girl. Do house chores.
And when was this?
Yeah. This was in primary school. I think my earliest memory was when I was 7 or 8, and then it was school holiday. I was thrilled because I would then get to read books because I enjoy reading a lot. So I get to read a lot of books during school holiday uninterrupted. And then my grandmother will be telling me, because she raised us up, she'll be telling me that, why are you reading? It's such a waste of time. Why are you not helping me with house chores? Because that's who you're supposed to be. The phrase of who you're supposed to be is very triggering, because I feel like it's not something that I'm called for. I don't feel called to. Yeah. And it's just the entire childhood is just me getting punished a lot by them for behaving otherwise. And my sister is the exact opposite of me. She is exactly who they want her to be as a girl. She's quiet. She's an introvert. She don't go out much with friends. She don't talk much. And I remember my family would tell me, why can't you be like your sister? She is quiet, and when we lecture her or when we scold her for something that she has done wrong, and she just keep quiet. She never defend herself. She never fight back. Why can't you be more like her? Yeah. So it was a lot of this type of ideas being thrown around about what a girl should be.
When did you feel empowered enough to actually say that this is not me? And while we are on that, just now you mentioned that this is not what you're called for. So at which point you realize that you're called for something else? What are you called for?
think I strongly believe that I should advocate for women empowerment because I feel like my entire childhood I felt so disempowered by the people around me and the circumstances around me that is telling me that, you are too much, you're too loud, and I don't feel fit in. And I felt so different from my siblings. They are the exact opposite of me, and I have just never felt belong. And as a child, you want your caregiver or your parents to give you that sense of belonging,
Yes.
the love and attention. And then I started wondering, is there something wrong with me? Because I always felt like in my childhood that my sister is getting more love than me. That's because she's behaving exactly how they expect a girl to be. So there must be something wrong with me,
Mm.
which is why I'm not getting the affection from my parents. Then it was in one chance encounter in school. There was this motivational speaker who came to school. Couldn't really remember what this guy was telling all the kids about. I'm guessing now it has a lot to do with like motivating us to study hard for exam. But it was his energy and the way he talks and the way he's on stage and it just brings out something in me. Like I want to empower people too.
I see.
Yeah.
When did justice came into the picture?
It's from childhood where I felt there is no fairness in the way that my sister is being treated and how I'm being treated. I used to wonder that am I really my parents' child? Because that's what they make me feel different. And I cannot embrace being different. I cannot embrace this because it felt very isolating.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that after what you have gone through during childhood, on top of that, dealing with eczema,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it emphasizes that feeling even more.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your journey with eczema.
It started in 16 actually, when I did a part-time job at a mall, which my parents protest strongly against, but I just went and did it anyway because my friends were working there and I wanted to be my friends on school holidays. So I went and did it anyway. And I was working in this Nike shop where selling sneakers and all. Then they mixed the detergent with some random chemicals for us to wipe the glass with newspaper. So every morning we reach there before the mall opens and then we start doing cleaning, and then I will have to take a piece of newspaper, and then I dip into it that random detergent which I don't know what it's made of, and then I'll just have to clean the glasses. That's why I noticed there is some weird sensation around my right hand. But I couldn't figure out why because I don't have any skin problem. And I couldn't figure out why. And then by the time we finish cleaning, there will be customers coming in. And it will always be the case that after 2 hours later, after you have done with the customers, then we get to go toilet and actually wash our hand. So I didn't notice anything wrong about it, off about it. I just thought there's work, I have to attend to work, and I'll wash my hand off the chemical later. Then I started having this blister around my right thumb. It was so big. The blister was just growing, and then there were like fluid inside. And one day it burst. And then pus coming out. And then I lost my fingerprint. Next thing I know is I have no more thumbprint. And
That's
then
a very common thing for eczema patients, right?
yeah.
Because I have a few other friends, they actually face the same challenges where their fingerprints are always not the same every time they go travel. So they have to redo their passport. So are you one of those people also?
I have a letter that says this person has no thumbprint. And the reason is because of her skin condition.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it. So it's a problem because every time when I travel, I get very anxious whenever we have to go through the auto gate.
Mm.
I'll prefer the old school manual way when the person will see me and then they will just give me a chalk.
Mm.
So yeah, then from my thumb to the next finger, next thing I know, the entire right hand, I have no more fingerprint.
So that was when you were 16, 17.
Yeah.
And one of the triggers for eczema is also stress, right? And at that point of time, knowing you, having ambition to become a lawyer at that point of time, how was it for you sitting for the exams? Because I ask these questions because I know Iris is also a perfectionist. And I know it must have been difficult. So I just wanted to understand how was it like for you at that point of time? Because for me, it was quite difficult.
I was always a high achiever, and then thinking that you could actually get my mom's attention and affection.
Just like you want to rebel against what your mom believes in.
Also because she has been emotionally unavailable all my life, emotionally distanced. So I always thought I just need to be better and be better. I'm not good enough for her, you know.
Just to gain her approval.
Yes. So I tried so hard. I study, I get good grades, I joined a lot of competitions and then won a lot of trophies, but it's not enough. It's still the same. And then I used to wonder, why can't I have moms like other people where they can hang out with their moms at the mall, they can go like yum cha with their moms, go hang out with their mom like sisters. Why don't I have that? It must be me. So I started blaming myself, and then after like Form 3, after 15, I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to go the other extreme of being a good student. I'm going to the other extreme. Just constantly skipping school. So they'll be dropping me at school, thinking that I went to school, but actually escaped out of school.
Oh, wow. But at the same time, you were still aiming to be a high achiever. Were you?
In being a rebel, must be the best rebel there is.
You are rebellious, but at the same time, wanting to be a high achiever.
I think around 16, I practically gave up on academic. Yeah, I did at that point because I was wondering, what's the point? What's the point of me studying so hard? The lawyering part came later. Yeah. I remember feeling very lost. I mean, on hindsight, probably I was under so much stress that I get eczema at that age, but I didn't think that it has anything to do with the mental state, mental health. So it was just me skipping school a lot, and then when it comes to sitting for exam, it's tough. So when we were sitting for exam, there are other people sitting next to me, and then they'll be looking at me because I wasn't answering the question. I was just scratching my hand because it's too itchy. I was just scratching my hand, and then there will be pus coming out, and then I'll be taking my tissue and wipe the pus and the blood. And then I write again. And I was just scratching. And then it got so bad when I was in 17. There's just too much pus and blood that the entire pinky finger is just always like this. It always crawl up like this because it couldn't. I couldn't write. I was just writing like this. It's tough. And then I think I didn't do very well, given the state of my mental well-being wasn't at its best.
Not just your mental, your physical.
My physical too,
also.
yes. I didn't do very well in school at the time. Then what changed for me is after 17, I went for a 2-month student exchange in Australia. And that changed my life. I was under so much pain, physically and mentally. Then I went
Is it because you were carrying the rejection of your family and at the same time having the condition?
Yes.
May I ask, when you have the condition at the age of 16, how did your family member treated you at that point of time, if you're comfortable to share?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. I think it was a lot of blaming actually. Yeah. Like you shouldn't simply eat junk food.
Mm.
It's your diet. Why other people don't have skin condition but you?
Mm.
And why did you work during school holiday?
Mm.
That's what causes it. You never listen to us. We ask you not to do part-time work during school holiday, but you did it anyway. So you had it coming.
Yeah. So all the blame was
Yeah.
actually put on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did it make you feel?
Um,
How did you navigate that actually? I can't imagine because I carry a lot of guilt inside of me. And my parents also carry a lot of guilt as well. So at the very least, right, we share the guilt. We share the guilt of like, oh, she has a skin condition. It must have been my fault,
okay.
which is very painful to live with. But I'm just curious, when it comes to your situation, your loved ones actually place all the blame on you. It must have been a very, very challenging phase to go through. How was it for you?
Um,
How did you navigate the journey actually?
I view my skin as an inconvenience, and that is a burden to have this eczema thing. Then I try to hide it all the time.
But it was on your finger. How did you hide it?
Plaster all my fingers.
I see.
Yeah, just put plaster all over it, and then take the quick fix. Yeah, resort to that. So started taking steroids at that age, and then it went away very quickly.
Okay.
So it then became an addiction, so to speak, where whenever I see bloods coming out or pus, I will go straight to putting steroid cream.
Well, I would like to go back to what you mentioned. You mentioned addiction, but I mean, pardon me to say this, but I don't think that's an addiction. I would say that it's a survival action where, when
Yeah.
at least for me, when I see my skin started to flare ups, all these new dots coming up, the first thing that I wanted to do was to stop it. And you were just doing that.
Yeah, I want to hide it.
Of course.
I was so ashamed of it.
Of course. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you
Yeah.
carry the shame of your loved ones as well. So that must have been.
I think it felt very isolating because I don't know anyone with eczema back then.
Of course.
Yeah, it
And
felt like I was the only one.
yeah, and also at the same time, what I know about you is you're actually from Guangdong. And growing up in a small town, of course, the awareness for skin condition was not there at all. And I'm pretty sure it was also very frowned upon. And I can see from how your loved ones treated you as well. How did the friends around you react to your skin condition?
I think at that age we were all still pretty young, so they didn't really have much reaction to it. They were just like, "Oh, you have a skin problem. Oh, okay, you have to take care."
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Yeah,
That's kind of sweet.
yeah.
That's nice of them to do that.
There is no like discrimination, like, oh, why do you have skin condition? No, I think they were all just seeing it as something normal.
Then I see a very huge contrast when it comes to how your loved ones treated you and also how your friends react to your skin condition. In that contrast, did you find some comfort?
I did, but still, when I look at them and they look different, or in my mind at the time they look normal and they have like normal palms, and then I don't, I feel inadequate or I don't feel normal. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can totally relate to what you just mentioned,
Yeah.
and especially when we have amazing friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back to more current times,
Mm.
when I met you, you were actually going through a very unstable phase of your life, actually. And tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I think I met you through the nutrition program that you offered
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
I think it was sometime in May 2021, around there. Um, I just had a major health crisis, major for that stage of my life. I was diagnosed with tuberculosis, something that I couldn't believe because I don't even smoke, and my entire office, everybody smokes, but not me. And how can this happen to me? It was a lot of why is this happening to me? Then when they put me on treatment, it was 6 to 9 months treatment, some up to a year. They told me there will be skin rash. Is a common side effect from the drugs to control the bacteria growing in my lungs. But I didn't expect it to be TSW, topical steroid withdrawal. I didn't expect it to be that. I thought it was just, skin rash. And at that time, it was really a confusing period. I had my lung procedure and I was so busy at work, and there is a inner voice telling me, maybe this is not the life that you want, to be so busy all the time that you have no time to take care of your health. And then I have my lung specialist telling me, you should just quit your job. And then
Well, before we get there,
Mm.
tell us a little bit about your life in the office actually with eczema
I was the only one with eczema,
Yeah.
the only one with skin condition.
in a lawyer firm
Yeah, and
where it's highly, highly demanding and stressful, and you're just firefighting all the time.
Mm.
And you were working in a very, famous law firm as well
Mm.
in the industry.
For they are known for their work ethics.
Yeah, so
they are
how?
hardworking.
I mean, when it comes to work ethic,
Yeah, they are
it's
hardworking.
basically
My
they-
bosses are really
they work
hardworking.
you to the bones, right? How did you deal with it? I was so impressed, like when you told me about your journey.
Like when you ask me, how did my childhood impacted me? How did it shape me?
Yeah.
I didn't notice the impact of childhood in adulthood.
Yeah.
So when I was working in my office, all I know is I wanted to be the best lawyer among my peers. I was so ambitious. I wanted to be the best. I love my work. And then maybe for some reasons, I see my boss as my emotionally unavailable parent. And then I was seeking for their validation.
Yeah.
And then I worked myself tirelessly. And I wanted to, be better and better and better. So then when the first sign of eczema coming back to me is when I was in conversation with a lawyer. We were traveling to Labuan for work. It was dinner time around 8 p.m. I was in conversation with a senior lawyer, and we were talking, and then I felt sweat dripping through my scalp. So I was like wiping, and then I took a tissue to wipe because it just kept coming lah. And then I started to wipe, and then I had a glance at it. Oh my god, it's yellow in color, it's past, and it has blood too. But I cannot show it. I must carry on the conversation like normal because that's what normal people should be.
Yeah.
So I just continue carrying on the conversation until like 10 to 11. Went back to my room to prepare for the case the next day. I went to the toilet and I checked my scalp. That's why I realized I had scalp eczema. And the pus just cannot stop flowing down. So I basically just put a plaster on it. Like I say, I felt that skin was an inconvenience to me. So then I popped antihistamine and some oral steroid to hide it, and hopefully I wake up the next day with normal skin.
Of course. We all did that.
Yeah.
All the wishful thinking, thinking that, if you pop a few pills, it will just all go away. But it never happens. You were traveling very often for work.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
And
was that?
I remember it was really exciting brief. It was some international fraud case. It was so exciting, and then I I need myself to be normal and not be bothered by any skin condition or any health condition. And then I don't have much sleep because it's long days, long hours of work, sometimes until 2 to 3 a.m. I'll still be at the hotel lobby printing cases, and then the printer is so slow. Then I just wait until 3 or 4 a.m. They already know my name by now. And then I hack my sleep with sleeping pills because that's one way that I can sleep less with I can get into deep sleep with less hour.
And you were traveling with a lot of medication, I'm sure.
Yeah, sleeping pill and oral steroid and antihistamine. And when this past thing happened, right, I think it was 2019 or 2018, should be 2019. And I didn't want to look into it. I just don't want to think about it. I just want to do my work and focus on my work. I remember we check out from the hotel, and then the bellboy just said, there's a bag of medicine in one of your room. It's either my boss room or my room, in one of your room. And would you like to take it home because you forgot it? It's in the room. And then my boss looked at me and said, did you bring medicine here? I was so ashamed to admit it. So I say, no, it's not mine.
So your bosses and your colleagues didn't know that you were struggling with eczema at that point of time?
They didn't know. They didn't know I was fighting a silent battle.
I see.
And when I say, no, it doesn't belong to me, then we went back to KL, reached KL, and then I went to the toilet, and then I called the hotel. And I said, it's actually my medicine now, by the way. Can you keep that? I'll be back next month. I'll collect that.
Where's the hotel actually?
It's Dorset Hotel Labuan.
Oh, that's very far.
So since I fly there every month for that case, so I was telling the hotel guy that, just keep it with you. Don't throw it away. I need them. It's mine, actually. I forgot it's mine when you asked me.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, right, it's because I carried so much shame
Yeah.
around this. I can't even admit it. I can't even briefly say, that bag of medicine is actually mine because I have a skin condition, and then I also have a habit of taking sleeping pill just to, sleep a little bit deeper. Then I can wake up faster and do my work. Admitting it makes me sound like incapable. To me at the time, I feel like I'm incapable if I can't handle my skin, incapable of handling my skin. How am I going to be capable in handling my clients' cases?
So, as what happened during childhood, you also learn to put all the blame on yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah. I only realized it like in recent years. I didn't notice it because when I was working late at night, and then I remember I'll go to work the next day and telling my colleagues in my early days of being a young lawyer, I would say, "Ayo, last night I worked until 3 a.m. I was so tired." And then some of them will say, "Hey, I worked until 4 a.m. eh."
This is not the kind of competition that I would actually encourage.
Yeah, and then it makes me feel inadequate. Like there must be something wrong with me. Why until 3 a.m. also complain? People want until 4, 5 a.m. also didn't complain. Why are you always complaining? I remember there was one colleague then that remarked this and said, why are you always complaining that we are working late? Is the practice.
In the law industry.
I think they're changing that. I think they're
Okay.
changing that with more mental health awareness.
Nice.
Yeah. Then I then feel like I'm not good enough. Why am I whining about working late? Then the skin thing snowball, when you don't listen to your body's signal. What I learned about is when you don't listen to your body's signal, it will give you a stronger signal until you eventually pay attention to it. So the skin pass thing happened. I masked it, cover in medicine, hoping that it go away, and it did went away. And next thing I know is the next year in 2020, I then have skin flare up. I didn't know what is TSW. Didn't know what is tropical steroid withdrawal. All I know is eczema. When you have eczema, you put on steroid, you heal. And then I was so red. And then my secretaries at the firm were telling me, you need to go and see a doctor.
So help us understand in when you reach 2020, when your health condition, everything just exploded, right? What exactly were you dealing with?
Work stress. And stress is a word that I will hesitate to say for a long time because it makes me feel weak and incapable. And I'm so sorry to say this, but I used to think that there's no such thing as depression. It's just tough times.
Okay.
And I just need to toughen it up.
And at that point of time, with this kind of thinking, you were dealing with TB?
TB happened the next year, so in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, so when TB happened, right, I was still thinking I can go on. Like it's okay, I can go on. So I remember they gave me a 3 months MC. I went back to work like in less than a week time. I didn't even utilize the MC, and my doctor, the eye doctor and the lungs doctor were so pissed at it. They were like, why are you not taking care of yourself? Why don't you love yourself? And it's something that I couldn't understand at the time. I remember telling them, you don't understand. Yeah.
And I remember one day you were texting me that you were shivering on the floor.
Yeah.
And your whole body was burning. And it was a kind of pain where it reached your nerve. And then you actually got hospitalized.
Yeah. So after TB, then I started to go on TB treatment. Then I started developing lymph node swelling. So it will be on my neck and then my armpit and then my inner upper thigh. And I didn't know it was a sign that the body is not healthy. Then I started losing weight. I think the lowest weight I was at is at the time 2021, 39 kilo. And I couldn't sleep. The entire month of July 2021, I didn't sleep for the entire month. I'm not kidding. I only took a nap every day. So at night, right, when I want to sleep, my body would be shivering and yet sweating. So I would wet the bed. But if I turn up the aircon, like make it colder, I will keep on shaking because it's too cold. And it went on like this for 2 months.
Sounds like hell.
Yeah, it's hell, man. And then really it was so tough. I was still working and I have to go into office the next day, and I was surviving on 6 to 8 tablets of oral steroid daily. I think it works because then I don't need to sleep. So the shivering and sweating will happen simultaneously when I try to sleep at night, all night until 6 a.m. in the morning. And then I'll be too physically exhausted. I will then naturally fall asleep until 7 a.m. Then I wake up again because of the skin itch. So every day went on like this, 1 hour nap every day. And then I go to work pretending I'm okay, pretending I had like 8 hours of sleep. And people expect you to have 8 hours of sleep and be able to function. So it's not something that I can talk about. I can't tell people, I didn't sleep last night. They'll be thinking, why don't you sleep? Why you don't want to sleep? It's your problem, isn't it? Something like that.
So when did you reach a point where you told yourself that I've had enough of this?
I think it was my body literally breaking down
Mm.
that left me with no choice but to resign. A decision that I struggled to make.
Mm.
I went to therapy for the first time in my life because I don't know how to resign.
Mm.
And I asked the therapist, can you teach me how to resign?
I don't know how to say no, this is enough.
And she was like, based on our analysis, you don't have any anxiety, you don't have any other disorder. So how can I help you with? And I said, I don't know how to resign. And then we went on for a few sessions until eventually I left my work. But it was also because I was so sick that when I go to work, people could actually see that my entire arm is red. And then my face also red. And then my neck also like different color from my face because it's like super red. And I ran out of long pants to wear. I ran out of long dresses to cover myself. So someday I just said, hey, can I work from home today? Because I don't know what else I can wear to cover it. Is
So how did you resign actually?
Oh, I spoke to them. Spoke to my bosses for 2 months. It was
2 months.
was
It took
back
you
and
2 months to resign.
It was back and forth where they say, it's okay. It's just a temporary thing.
Oh.
You know what you have.
Oh, so
It's
so they were
just-
trying to tell you what you have.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's very interesting.
So they were saying what you have is just a skin problem.
Okay.
It's not life-threatening like cancer. It's not life-threatening like, heart attack or heart problem.
So it's very interesting how people see skin condition, where people who actually have skin condition are actually gaslighted into thinking it's nothing, it's not a big deal at all. It's very funny.
Yeah, and the environment around me, they were constantly telling me,
They were psychoing you lah, telling you that it's not a big deal.
yeah,
Don't overreact.
yeah, it will pass.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they say.
How I wish it would pass for us. I wish it's so simple, right? So then how did you tell them that, okay, I'm done with this job?
It was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
I feel that my body starting showing more and more sign that the skin is really not doing well. It's so red. I remember one of my boss told me that she said, look, we really want you to stay with us and continue to work with us.
Until 4 a.m.
That she didn't say. I guess it's implied in the industry. So
yeah.
she said, we really want you to continue to stay with us and work with us. But looking at your body condition right now, it wouldn't be right for us to keep you here.
Okay.
So I guess for them to make that kind of statement, my
It must
body
have
has
been
already
very-
been showing that.
Exactly. It must have been very obvious to them already.
Yeah, I was having so much low self-worth and I feel so ugly.
So you mentioned that you didn't understand what was depression.
Yeah.
So do you understand right now?
Yeah, very much.
So
I'm
what was
very
that?
mentally aware now.
What was the understanding when it comes to depression? What was your personal journey with depression, with a skin condition?
For me, right, it was all my life. I've been chasing this, that I need to be this, then only I can be happy. I need to do this. I'm not good enough. I need to be better and better and better. Of course, it served me on some levels. It get me to where I want to be. But when I was struggling with topical steroid withdrawal and then tuberculosis, and then I have thyroid issue, hypothyroid, all at once at the same time, I was physically in pain, a lot of pain. And then it caused me to be mentally wrecked. And I remember I was in so much pain that I wished back then, I hope for my life to be taken away. So I don't have to go through this physical pain anymore. And then it was also a lot of hospitalization in that year. So in and out of hospital, Like, I don't know anyone at that time who was hospitalized for their skin condition. It was just me. And when I was in hospital, shivering and sweating at the same time, everybody don't know what to do with it, as in the hospital staff. It's something strange that they've never seen, hardly seen. So I remember my skin doctor told me that I was having organ failure. These are signs of organ failure. And then I was like, what do you mean? Is there something wrong with my liver, something wrong with my lungs, something wrong with my kidney? And he said, no, skin is the largest organ of our body. So what you're experiencing is your skin is breaking down. It doesn't know how to regulate temperature. It's losing its function as skin, hence the organ failure. So what happened is my skin don't know how to regulate temperature. It doesn't know when to sweat. When it's hot, it sweats. When it's cold, it shivers. But right now the skin is confused. So it's doing both things together at the same time, simultaneously, sweating, shivering, sweating, shivering. And it was just tough in the hospital when they want to insert the IV drip on my body and they couldn't find the blood vein. They couldn't find the blood vessel because uh with the red patches all over my hand, they couldn't see it at all. So the simple things that we all take for granted, like I go to a hospital and then I get my blood drawn, becomes something complicated in that process. So they couldn't draw my blood for sample and testing. They also couldn't put in hydration through the IV drip. So they tried to poke many times. It was so much pain. They failed. Then they say, why not we admit you to ultrasound? You know the ultrasound where they used to scan for babies? They are using it to locate blood veins on my left arm. So they were searching around here. And then the doctor said, don't worry, you just keep looking at the screen. But I'm not looking at baby lah, I'm looking at my blood veins. And then she just punched it in. So she managed to get in the line inside, kind of like injection through here, but it's through here. But that didn't last long. So I was back to my hospital bed. And then they told me, now you'll get more hydration because your skin is so dry, it's peeling right now and it's red all over. Right now you get the hydration from the saline flowing into your body. So that night, this thing broke. I didn't notice because the whole bed is wet. I thought it's just me lah, doing the usual wetting the bed, shivering, sweating thing happening. So I didn't know. It was until like 5 a.m. It felt so wet that I woke up like, oh my God, this thing broke. And then I call, and then they have like on-call doctor. Then he tried to use the conventional method of trying to poke the IV drip through here. He couldn't find the blood vein again. Then they asked me to wait for 1 day. Then they pushed me into operation theater. But they keep telling me to calm down, relax, relax. Bring your phone, you can play with your phone, watch video. I was like, so nice one. Okay. So I was being wheeled while I'm on my bed, so nice being wheeled around on my bed and I'm just looking at video, playing phone. Then they say, you don't look, we're gonna put the line through here. So then I was just looking at the other side. Then they start cutting here. They cut here so that they can insert a line this long. So they told me this is usually for patients that they are gonna be admitted to hospital for 3 to 6 months, so that they don't have to take the line out all the time and the line is stable. So they put in the line here, and it was quite painful. Then they stitch it back. And that's where I realized simple things like poking your blood vessel to have IV drip can become so difficult when you have complicated skin issue. And I just, at the time, I wanted to die. Like, just take me away from this pain. I don't want to go through this pain anymore. Like, what's the point of
this?
living? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no fun. And I remember a friend of mine, we are not very close, but she sent me this on social media because she saw what I was going through. I did post a bit of it. And she said, your heart is stronger than your body. and you can do this. If your heart is strong enough to endure this, your body will follow suit, even though it's breaking down all over. And I still remember this quote when I was in hospital. I just keep telling myself, I can get through this. Let's see what happened after 1 minute, minute by minute, because it was so tough. Yeah, that's where I understand that, mm, there's a level of sadness and despair that makes you feel so depressed. Yeah. So that depression is something that is deeper than what's on the surface. And I guess I was really depressed at that time, even thought of taking my life just so that I don't have to suffer. So now then I am passionate about mental health now, and I can imagine what it's like. Yeah.
There was a lot to go through.
Yeah.
And I believe that to some extent, the event was actually very traumatic to you as well.
Yeah.
I think there is something that I learned about trauma all these years is that a lot of people think about trauma as things that we go through when we were involved in a car accident or death of a loved ones. But actually, trauma exists in every day when we are dealing with hopelessness and helplessness. And I think that's what you were dealing with at that point of time to couple with such great pain from the physical.
Yeah.
And I just want to say I'm so glad that you're still here.
Yeah, I am too. I realized that I have been so unkind to my body. I was taking it for granted. And that now from time to time when I'm like at home watching Netflix and all, and then this area will, because they do have a bit of marking there, a bit of scar left there, and then I would just look at my arm and I'm like, wow, I'm so thankful for this body that got me through. Yeah. Mm.
Wow, that was a lot. So fast forward to today.
Mm.
As I know, your life is a little bit different. And
Mm.
honestly, I could see that you're so much happier now. And also, where are you right now with your relationship with yourself? Because I asked this question is because I am very aware the fact that we carry the shame and guilt and the rejection, especially when it comes from the people that we love. So I would just like to chat a little bit about that with you.
Mm. About my relationship with myself, I'm slowly learning how to embrace me
Mm,
and slowly learning how to embrace being different. Being different is not such a bad thing after all. And that, yes, I am opinionated, I am assertive, and that's who I am. And I don't have to accommodate others
yeah.
and minimize myself. And I am allowed to take up space. And because of this whole journey, right? So after the very traumatic health crisis, I couldn't work anymore. So I took a 1.5 year break.
Mm,
It was so long. And then in the first 6 months, it was me busy getting better, still in and out of hospital, but not, I don't stay for like more than a week. So it was me busy getting better. And then at the same time, I'm more aware of mm, my chatters, my mind chatters. Like I could hear them. And I realized I've been speaking unkind words to myself. I am my biggest critic. And I was criticizing myself so much, thinking that, other people wouldn't have skin condition as bad as you. Why you? So my mindset shifted from why me, why me, why me. When I was in hospital, it was why me, why me, why me. This victim mentality, it has now shifted to it's supposed to happen because it's a turning point of my life. What happened? changed my life for the better. But of course, at the time, I couldn't see it. And it actually made me more mentally aware. And then I'm learning how to accept myself. So when I was going through the 1.5 year gap, I tried therapy. I went to holistic healing. And when therapy says something to me that, you have a lot of self-hatred, I outright rejected that idea. I was like, no, that's so not true. How can I hate myself? I don't hate myself. And she was telling me, you have a lot of self-hate building up in you. You need to let it go. You need to forgive yourself. And that's why I realized, yeah, I think I haven't been very forgiving towards myself. I need to forgive myself for my skin condition, for my lung condition, and for my life, how it panned out. I need to go easy on myself. Then after this 1.5 years of taking some breaks and then did a bit of traveling here and there, I then decided, maybe I want to join a partnership and run a law firm as a boss
Wow.
instead of being an employee. Yeah, so this is where I'm now. So I am in a partnership with 2 other partners, and then we are running a small legal startup, a small firm. And honestly, I do miss the kind of files, the big files that I used to handle that is like so mentally stimulating and exciting. But then right now I'm having so much time to take care of me and to spend time with myself. I think there's a quote that my friend told me. I can't remember it exactly, but she said something to me like, Iris, you can't be the best at everything. It's just not possible. You cannot be the best lawyer and be the best wife and be the best friend and be the best daughter to everyone around you. It's impossible. You won't have that time. Instead, strive to be good enough. A good enough lawyer, a good enough daughter, a good enough wife, a good enough friend. Then you have balance, because balance is not about best in everything. I used to believe I must have it all. I want to be the best in everything, and it's just not realistic. So I am learning to embrace good enough is good enough.
Wow. That's beautiful, honestly. And look at you now being entrepreneur.
It ties back to the name.
Going back to the meaning of your Chinese name. I think that is a very beautiful journey. And I'm so grateful that you insisted to stay here and that you choose to fight for yourself and the people that you love. And that I think the main thing of this journey is to also learn what balance looks like for people like us.
Yeah.
And what I learned from your journey is seeking a balance not just in our career, and also what do we give to the people around us as well, so that we also can have the balance for ourselves at the end of the day. And I think it is a very, very important reminder for a lot of people out there who are struggling with a skin condition or another type of health condition that they're living with.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you. Wow.
It's like a self-reflection journey.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It always is a self-reflection journey, and realize we have grown so much. And witnessing your journey, knowing what you went through during childhood, it must have been very difficult to actually face that shame and guilt and the rejection that initially came from the people that you love, and eventually it was in you. And to stand strong, to say that no, this is not me, I believe that, and I know that it takes a lot of strength and courage and resilience to be on this journey to rebuild yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, before we end, what would you like to say to people who are struggling a lot with a skin condition right now?
I think you need to find what works for you and not go after what society or the people around you have conditioned you to crave for. Because you could have it all, but it may not be the right fit. Like having a great career
Mm.
with long working hours may not work if you have a skin condition to deal with.
Mm.
Because you want to balance it all, as you say, you want to live a happy life while managing your condition. So it's all about balancing. Yeah.
I think that's the word for this episode.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I hope that this chat has been very fruitful for you guys too. And I will see you in the next one. And remember to always glow beyond your skin condition. Bye.